You need to know what the numbers are. You need to know how the credit bureaus are looking at your information. For example, I was sharing this before. If you have a medical, I'm in the medical debt collection business. So I don't put roofs on, I don't chase homeowners anymore, I buy delinquent medical debt. Just bought a portfolio of $1.5 million worth of debt for $35,000. We'll probably collect 20% of it. Nice return on $35,000. In the process, we help those borrowers who are in the tank to understand things that they can do to improve their lives so they don't get into that delinquent situation again. For you, we have what's called the Quick Start Approval Guide. The 3 steps: number 1, understand what the banker's thinking. Number 2, make it easy for them to say yes. There are things you need to do to make it easy to say yes. And thirdly, and this is the most fun part of anything I do, is to coach them to understand how they can operate without a bank. I always tell people, if they'll stay with me long enough, I will teach you to never need a bank again. Doesn't mean you won't use a bank again, but you'll never need them again. That's a strategy. So if you want that guide, I'll need to have your card and I'll make sure you get it. It's called a Quick Start Guide. We also have an accelerated bankability coaching program, and we have the blueprint there for how you go through this process of figuring out how to get from where you are to where you want to be. So those are 2 things that I think would probably help you a lot if you have questions about what the bank is doing with your information after you turn in your loan application.
In regards to residential, the biggest piece of advice I can give to you when you're working with a lender is make sure you're actually picking up the phone or walking into somebody's office, speaking with them, and not just doing something online, because it doesn't make any difference to me what type of product you choose. It doesn't affect my bottom line. But if you're working with a lender, you need to make sure that they are asking you questions. That's how we determine what is the best product for you. And if somebody is just getting all of your financial information, credit info, and not asking you how long you intend to be in the property, what you intend to use the property for, they're not going to be able to give you your best options.
Just to piggyback off that, so on the conventional, traditional residential side, it's a risk-based approval process. So it's not about the opportunity that you may have down the line. It's strictly about, your numbers. It is very much a numbers game. So what are your assets? What are your credit? What is your debt? But to piggyback off Andrew's point, it is a conversation. Like, what are you looking to do? How risk averse are you? Are you looking for a 30-year fixed rate? Are you looking for an adjustable rate? Like, what are your long-term plans? So it is a conversation. It is individualized by what your risk appetite is and what you're looking to do and how much you have to do it. All those are part of what Landmark or any lender can offer you and what best suits you to get that done.
I'll answer this with 2 sides of the equation. One is, as a lender, we get hundreds of applications, and the ones that get financed are the ones that people put energy and effort into somewhat materialize an educated conversation. Here's what my plans are, here's what I'm going to do with the property. Okay, we got a plan, I like that. So we look at the asset, but we also look at the plan, and we make sure that people have their shit together when they're coming to us, rather than 50 different ideas of how they're going to get out of things. On the financing side, we finance hundreds or millions of dollars of debt every year with lenders. And I think there's a couple of things to consider. When we finance our debt, typically it's based on a relationship. So if I call Landmark Credit Union and I call Al Clemente, who's been one of our lenders for the last 15 years, and I say, Al, I have a deal, the process is pretty simple, right? And Al will come back, and I know what Landmark's good at. They're usually the low price leader on price, they're low on fees, and they want to get the deal done because they're sitting on a lot of cash and they want to have it in their portfolio. If I take a deal with Waterstone Bank, or if I take a deal with Tri-City, everybody has a place to fit. But when I go to somebody, the number one thing I'm not looking to do is force a trade over rate, right? If it's 5.25 versus 5.5 versus 5. The idea really is, for me, is what do I underwrite the deal on at? How can I go out and get it sold to a lender, and how little amount of brain damage do I have to go through? because I'm gonna do it again next month. And so if you're chasing everybody, where you're trying to get the last dollar out of every transaction, you're gonna end up dead with crazy amounts of stress about nothing that's important. It becomes immaterial to what you're after. I would rather know that I'm getting the deal done with XYZ lender and I have no pain. And we're going to a closing and I'll see you on Friday. And so I look at it a little differently, and I would encourage everybody to consider it's a long-term relationship. And when you call up Al or you call up any of the other great lenders that are around the city of Milwaukee, you just have to remember is that it's a relationship. You got to be out to lunch with them. You got to interact with them. You got to let them know what you're doing. And you got to, most importantly, never have a glitch in paying them. You don't want to be on the list of, hey, my dog ate my homework and I couldn't pay you this week, but it makes the approval process for your next one a lot harder.
And again, for our company, we're more like the interim. As far as hard money lending, it's a short-term vehicle for you. I mean, our loans are go up to 6 months. So we're meant for, if you want to make a competitive offer, to make the acquisition quickly, because we don't have to wait for an appraisal and whatnot, so we can close in a week. So our loans are nice for the acquisitions to be like a cash buyer, to buy it quickly and get the funds necessary for repairs, to make it stable. And then either you're going to resell it, flip it, or refinance. And that's where Landmark or other vehicles could come into play then. If it's already stable up front, you might want to just go with them right away. But if the properties, are distressed or seller's motivated by a quick closing, we could be the opportunity for that time. And again, we fund more unique deals as well, such as the sheriff sales, auction.com, anything that says you have to be a cash buyer, we can fund those. And I have more information on the table in the back if you want to look at that on your way out.
Hard to add a lot of meaningful stuff to this. I guess it's very important that you got your stuff together, that you have a plan, that you show up organized, that you have all your documents ready. It's really not that important to chase down, $50 in fees here and a 0.1% there. Like Scott said, getting the deal done is more important because you want to move on to the next one. One deal doesn't get you anywhere. It's the sequence of doing many deals in a row. And if it's a challenge for you to get to get lending, that's oftentimes in my experience an indication that there's also other stuff in your life that you have to look at. And get yourself organized. Real estate is not a get rich quick thing, as you guys know. So it's a little bit about the mindset. It's a little bit about what you want to do with your life. It's a little bit about being purposeful about these things, organizing yourself, having a plan, and working with the lender, having that relationship, and showing to them and documenting to them that you have a good plan and that you have thought it through and laid it out for them, so they don't have to ask you all the questions, because that can get really tiring as well.